Welcome, satellite fans, for a special Selection Sunday edition of the Popplewell cast here. I'm with my color commentator, Raina Fegans. Raina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Just at the tail end of my winter break, so well rested. Not really ready to go to school yet, though, but glad to be doing this again.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you back. But to kind of talk about what we'll see here, even though this is a rebroadcast game, uh, Hebron Star out with an illness tonight. How do you think Hebron comes out, especially after a 10-game losing streak, coming into the satellite launching pad here in Satellite Gym?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. She's leading the teams, even matching up to Olivia Marks in both points and rebounds, and also in steals, matching up with Tolman. So this is a big player here they're missing out on, let alone it being the sickness that's probably spreading a little bit on the team also. And a 10-game losing streak is definitely low in morale, and the satellites are intimidating.
And it doesn't get much easier because they just had the PC draw today, and you selected this team that we're going to watch, but will be broadcast on regionalsports.com. But we're going to see a kind of a preview of that game to come during this game, what we're going to broadcast here.
Right, absolutely. And I'm sure the satellites are going into this very confident. They've had a great season so far, no reason otherwise really to think so. So I think the satellites mentality is going to be starting out strong, and then I wouldn't say treating this as practice, but probably doing some more things that they need to practice for this upcoming tournament.
And kind of beating Jabba's, another sports network around here in the region, their top 10 teams by a combined 7 points or more, with that 7 point win in a last ball game against Lake Station, who was previously 10-2 before playing the Satellites.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this game here. I haven't seen them play in a while, and I think this is going to be a great time for our seniors to shine again.
Absolutely. Let's get it rolling and let's get that ship to Boston. And we do not own the rights to ship to Boston. So
Yeah, looking good lineup. Probably going to be a running gun team like they are. They go fast paced. Going to see a lot of amazing passes, I expect too.
and Maddie Heck has got to step up here. Junior, probably their star player without Elijah here for Hebron.
Right, and this is her opportunity to be a leader for her team. So, it's sad to see your leader gone, but it's great to get some opportunities out there.
And Hope Welsh with a three ball, starting it off very quick in this game.
A nice press there too, a little unexpected, but working fairly well. Exactly what you want to see with your help too. That press looked
Yeah, that press looks very good here in the early stretches. Um, it's looking like Hebron has not seen a press all year long.
right, and presses can really make or break your team. It's just that little bit of added pressure that really gets those turnovers to go up high.
And then there's a nice little dip to Wagner there, where Wagner's got to step up too for as a starter and a senior here for Hebron to kind
Yeah,
of get.
they have a solid defense. They look ready to play here. Not making it easy for the satellites.
For the Hawks, they got to slow this game down. If Satellites have the up tempos, it's going to be a very quick night here in Satellite Gym.
Yeah, exactly. They know that's the satellites game. They can't do that. They can't be rushing their offense.
And Kate Welsh is looking ahead to Olivia Marks, and Olivia draws the foul here, going to the line quickly.
I think the satellites do well in chaos. So when you are rushing yourself like that, they are in the right position at the right time. So they're going to get those layups and you're going to have to foul them, which is not what you want when you have such a short team.
And with the kind of size that the post players have for Hebron, you got to slow it up. You got to have that ability to slow it up because marks will eat you in that post all day long if you speed up your tempo in your mind.
Yes, exactly. And as you see, this press is they're very close on their press, they're not really backing off that much, which is it's hard to get through, as you see there.
And that diamond press works to South Central's benefit there. They're going into a little bit of a box kind of flex set here, kind of setting up here in a little bit of a motion offense.
Right, you see, that's exactly how they wanted that play to go, and it's just uh the satellites just know how to run their stuff. They drill it in practice and you can see it in the games.
And a quick timeout here to kind of figure out what's going on from the Hebron side of things, uh, which will take a little bit of a commercial break here.
Hebron's back out ready to go. They seem like they got a game plan.
Absolutely. But Mike Tyson's always said when he's fighting and stuff like that, till you get hit in the mouth, the game plan is always a game plan.
Right, exactly. As you see there, it just a travel. It's the satellites are playing pretty harsh defense, so they're forcing a lot of turnovers.
That pressure they're kind of doing what we want them to do. They have more of a balanced tempo. They want to speed up the offense on the defensive side, and kind of slow it up on the offensive side.
You can see they're taking it just up the baseline. They're catching Hebron flat-footed there. It's just they're not quite ready on defense. They're a little too hesitant for the satellites. Really, the only teams that could beat the satellites are confident teams.
Absolutely. And the only one really in the PCC that could beat the Satellites are Morgan and Couts. Very close games earlier in the year, but their side of the bracket with a Hebron and a Washington Township allows them get to kind of an easy two buys. You don't want to take any team lightly, but into the championship game.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's good to recognize that you will most likely beat a team, but the whole thing about not taking it lightly is just that you never know if someone's going to have an on day and just really take it to you. And I think the Sallies do a great job of not even letting players get hot.
And Olivia Tolman had kind of a big of a hot streak here uh, in December with the Viking tournament, with Lake Station, with Washington Township game. It's kind of starting it off already here in this Hebron game. We're getting to the line with steals. And Steele, it seems like the Mark sisters are always on the spot with Sadie with a steal and a finish on the other end.
Yeah, and I'm now starting to realize why they decided to do this press right at the beginning. It's just they're not they want to get ahead quickly so that they can really start focusing on some other things, and get those fundamentals just out of the way so then they can start to practice more dangerous things that they'll need when they're playing tougher teams.
Absolutely. And a rebound by Kate Welsh throws it up to Lillian Tolman.
Another foul. Yeah, they're getting right to the exact spots, and Hebron just isn't able to play this disciplined defense, and they're making silly fouls. As she misses the first, but not too important here.
And she misses the second. Wagner throws the ball out.
Yeah, again, just it's kind of that player connection too. They don't seem to quite have. I'm sure the play someone was supposed to be there, but they weren't, and they just are running the plays really without seeing the court.
Raina, you're being too nice on that one. It seemed like she just threw it in the upper deck on that one. Which
It's that confidence too. Again, they're playing scared, and that's when those things happen.
and Lillian Tolman finished. She can have an and one on this play after this play here.
And I think this is a style of play I haven't quite noticed from the satellites is they're doing a great job of drawing these fouls and doing it consistently, which is not a skill you really think you need, but it's important when you have it.
The Satellites, this is kind of what their goal is to get to the line, but they have been shooting not well this year. So a little bit of the hesitation you've seen in the other games.
Right, exactly. I see a lot of in the past games a lot of fast breaks that just get wide open layups. So right now it's kind of nice to see that they're able to make layups that they are being guarded.
And Wagner goes for two on that one and hits both. Tolman swings it to Kate Welsh. Welsh looking, Marks looking down to see if Livia is wide open. Now Lillian driving into the trees of Hebron, and Hebron draws the foul.
Yeah, that just looks like a little bit of some hesitancy, honestly, on the Satellites' part, just kind of keeping it out, running a 5 out almost, and just driving at the wrong time there.
And speaking of driving, after the steal, Livia Marks is driving in for a bucket.
Yeah, and you see that double dribble call. The refs are gonna be sticklers with the Satellites here, just based on the point differential. That's just something you need to keep in mind as a player and not get frustrated with that. And they're able to break the press there and get it down low. That's what they need to do, but that's a tough shot to make, especially when the help defense is exactly where they need to be.
Absolutely.
A nice pass out to the three, just couldn't quite make it. And that's when you need a lot of your teammates there to rebound. A few of them just didn't seem to box out there.
And Hope Welsh was just a little bit off the mark there.
Right, yeah, the shot just seemed a little off balance, but it was a wide open one. She should have taken it.
Heck shoots and just hits the rim a little bit for Hebron.
Great passes. Ugh. You hate to see that.
Absolutely. You almost had a
She
Marks
gets it right back.
connection.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want from a player. You mess up, you make up for it. Basketball's a game of mistakes, so you mess up, you just need to figure out how to make up for it.
Absolutely. And that's one of Sadie Marks's trade calls there is just getting those steals and those fast break layups from that 5'10 junior and
Yeah,
just
and that's
getting her in space.
that's really important because that creates a lot of energy, and can change momentum almost instantly. And on a team with not a deep bench, with almost no bench, that's you need that energy consistently.
And speaking of the bench. Sam Marks with a three ball to extend this lead to 16 here.
Right, yeah, forcing that other timeout as we're almost done with the first quarter. Or is this two halves or is it quarters?
Quarters.
Yeah, we're finishing up this quarter here. Of course, a big student section as per usual. And a little table set up.
Absolutely. There is a little bit of a sports center kind of theme here at Satellite Gym on this game as well.
Yeah, dressed up and everything, full suits. Of course, they're always having a fun time. Not seeing the astronaut here, though. He's probably dressed up in one of the suits.
Absolutely in one of the suits.
Oh, and a quick little picture. How cute. And of course, the cheerleaders are great. I love the satellite cheerleaders. They do some pretty great stuff and with no pads either.
Absolutely.
They're back with the press, playing off a little bit, just two up, and it still works.
And Tolman with the steal sets up Kate Welsh for the 15-foot jump shot, but does not hit it.
Right, like we were talking about earlier, their shots just haven't been that great this season. Their defense is amazing. They're cutting off those passing lanes, but it's just these jumpers and 3 points are slightly off. So the satellite should be up by a lot more here.
Absolutely. And Paige Skinsky misses it. Number 31 of Hebron.
Right, and they have this 5 out kind of play. Just there we go. Yeah, exactly. The flash down to the post. Wide open layups if you're able to get the defense out of position.
Absolutely. And we can kind of see Sadie Marks so far kind of tending for that player of the game award.
Great lep. Hebron has to do a different press break. They're telegraphing the passes. They the diamond press is meant for you to pass it to the middle and then get a steal. They're playing right into the satellite's hands, and they just need to figure something else out.
It's like Ben Anderson scouted Hebron before playing them. Uh,
Exactly.
Crazy concept. So, um, but it sure looks like it because Hebron has not been even able to kind of breathe here with the press so far.
Yeah, I believe they've already gotten two 10-second calls, which is, that's hard on morale when you're just trying to just get it past half court. It's tough.
Absolutely. And speaking of tough, Olivia Marks going right through the lane here.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing exactly what we're used to seeing with the satellites, and even better press than I've seen before, and they're just right in the passing lanes as per usual. We just have to focus on getting a little bit more consistent with our jump shots and threes,
Absolutely. But
which is a good problem to have.
great problem to have. But when you're almost up by like 18 right now in the second quarter, there's not much you can work on that's better than what you have shown so far.
Exactly. It just goes to show they're a great team, which is the only nitpick I have is that they need to be more consistent with the shots, and that's just a practice thing. And I'm sure that the ladies are putting in the work.
Absolutely.
As they have a great 2-3. Almost got the trap to
And
force some baseline.
it just happened to hit Olivia Marks' shoe just a little bit on that one. Just bail him out till Sam Marks with a steal tips it up to Kate Welsh, throws it up to Lillian Tolman. Lillian Tolman saves it after
Ooh.
and a air ball from Hope Welsh.
And I think they had the little break they need to get relocked into the game. They have the time, right? It's not like it's a pressing issue. it's just if you want to be the best, you have everything to work on still.
Absolutely. This is a great time to work on stuff that you need to work on for that Porter County Conference tournament, especially
Exactly. Drilling those fundamentals is what they should be focusing on.
playing it to a team without their star. Um, it kind of going in a similar light, and you've seen them kind of struggling. Uh, I would be motivated going against probably the best team in the PCC in the first round, which
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of you know you're the underdog there, and then even more so that your star is gone. So it is demoralizing, but if you wanted to get a positive look, it's an opportunity.
absolutely. And speaking of an opportunity, Olivia Marks before with a bucket to get it down, to give it up to score the 24-point difference here.
Yeah, and we're looking here, just passing around, waiting for a wide open shot because that's all they really need. Maybe trying to get a foul here or there. But again, the fundamentals here are solid passes and running the play how your coach wants you to. There you go. And then everything will fall into place.
They're running kind of like a curl, kind of flex, kind of set play there to get
Yeah.
Olivia Marks kind of open in space for an easy layup.
Yeah, just love pass cut fill. Again, the fundamentals. You don't need to get that spicy, I'd say, on offense because they cut amazing as a team. So pass cut fill plays run amazing for them, or overload plays.
Absolutely.
A deep three.
And assist, a Welsh connection there. Hope to Kate. Kate drills the three, and our PA announcer always says bullseye.
Yeah, and you see the satellites aren't pressing anymore. I think that's the right choice. They've proven that their press is good and that the ladies know how to do it. So I think it's a good choice to cut that off so that you can play defense down low.
Abs- Absolutely.
You see his patience. This is what Hebron wants. They want a slower game, but again, they're down by quite a bit. So hopefully they can use the slow tempo and try to get some points.
Yeah, but the way South Central's executing, they want it kind of slow tempo on the offensive side. So you're playing into their hands as well if you're
Right,
the
yeah,
Hebron
they're just
Hawks.
letting the satellites run their plays, which is, on defense, defense is kind of, you have to get a little bit more physical, especially with the satellites. They're not, I wouldn't say aggressive, but they have places to get to, and they're going to get to them quickly. So you have to try to get in front of the people running, get in front of those passing lanes, and having great help.
For the most part, the Satellites are a taller team, but in the post, Hebron has their height just by a couple inches.
Right, yeah, and you see that with the rebounds, they're able to get quite a few defensive rebounds, which is I think has been saving them since the satellites haven't been as on point with their shooting percentage.
But when you're getting about 20 turnovers, you don't need to be on crystal clear here because that defense has been stifle so far here on the early going in the second quarter.
Exactly. I think just to get better and to have respect for the other team, you need to still play your hardest still and not get lazy because although you may not be going as aggressive, you still should be in athletic stance all the time. You still should be sprinting to your spot, sprinting through the cuts. And I think we've seen that still from the satellites.
Absolutely. And Maddie Heck draws the foul here, just misses the first free throw here. If you're Hebron, you got to have these free throws to kind of get yourself back into it um, somewhat.
Yeah, you need some type of momentum in scoring. And same thing, just a little too long.
And Sam Marks, who's going to be a star, kind of like her sisters, in the next couple years, gets the rebound, um, already making a huge difference from that six-woman spot in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to get in that starting team. The satellites are solid, solid, so it's always, great to feel like you can level up to those people too.
Absolutely, and especially when you're playing as a freshman with a great team like South Central is, to kind of give them kind of hope for the future when you have three outstanding seniors.
Exactly, yeah, and you're gonna have to be a leader your sophomore year because you have that varsity experience. So she should be taking all this time in the world to really study the seniors and to see where she fits on the team.
Absolutely. And speaking of Sam, drawing the foul after that stolen basket, you could see in the Laville game, she was a little hesitant. There's no hesitating as we speak here on the defensive end from Sam Marks at the moment.
Yeah, I would say in women's sports, the biggest downfall is confidence. You can have a great player. A lot of tall centers have this deficiency. They don't want to be big down low, or they don't want to be fast. They don't want to shoot, right? And I think that the satellites have gotten over that, especially the seniors, and they're ready to shoot from anywhere. They're ready to drive at any point in time, and they're ready to get steals.
Absolutely. And Sam drills both free throws, going back into their trap. Wagner, every time Wagner gets the ball, the satellites are on her. Um, Rightfully so, because she's dribbled a couple balls off of her leg.
Yeah, right. I think as a team, Hebron should not be passing down at those corners. The satellites have strong traps, and it's just going to cause more turnovers than points by passing down there.
And Sam Marks with another steal, another coast to coast basket.
And you see there, just dribbling with her head down. She had her top play. They ended up getting the point there, but they had their center flash up. She's wide open, but just having that head down, can't see the whole court. Oh,
And Hope Welsh just knocks it down like a Sunday morning stroll.
yeah. I mean, they're doing great. 40 points in less than a half. Amazing. And I think they've shown here they play well when it's controlled and they play well when it's a bit chaotic, which is, it's great to have such a versatile team like that.
Absolutely. And you're kind of seeing your stars get more comfortable as their senior year is getting to a close here. With Olivia Marks obviously being the team's leading scorer and Lillian Tolman a 4-year starter, kind of getting more of that oomph that you saw from the three legends last year with Bomar, with Gale, and with Tomlin.
Right. Yeah. And I think you should, coaches always say like you should play each game like it's your last because, you never know when you're going to play again or if that's your last game. And I think that's especially, in players' minds, seniors' minds during the season, right at the end. And you're right. This is about the time when that kind of comes to realization that you're almost done with your high school career. So you want to go out there, you want to give everything you got for your teammates so that, you can show them what they can be later on.
Absolutely. And Hebron trying to run the triangle here, offense, but it was a little communication issues that allowed the satellites with another steal.
Right, yeah, and I think faster passing would do them good, but it's just they don't have that team chemistry to do those quick of passes because they end up throwing it away just out of lack of communication.
And a miscue here from the satellites. A little bit of a traveling violation here on young Sam Marks to allow the Hawks back into their set before throwing it to Kate Welsh, who goes coast to coast.
Yeah, there you go. You make a mistake, and then you make up for it right then. As a team, that's just how everything should be viewed. And one person's mistake is everyone's mistake.
Wagner looks down and throws it to her fellow post player on the play here.
Right, and there, it's just those are tough because you think you don't foul like you're standing there, arms straight up, but the refs are looking at you have to be already set in the spot by the time they touch you. So if there's really any movement, you're gonna get called for a foul there.
And Byers knocks it down. Excuse me, Wagner knocks it down. Byers is the other center that should be stepping up for the Hebron Hawks here. So,
All right, we're back in it
we're
into the
back
second half.
back into it.
And the satellites come in with it. Seems like a bit of an overload. Just pass around looking for a wide open shot.
Satellites look like they're running kind of a 5-out offense here, trying to get them into space.
Right, yeah. A lot of moving parts here in this offense. It's for me, it's confusing for me watching. I'm sure as a defense, it's hard to keep track of everyone, especially when they're running a zone. If you're doing man, it's a bit easier, but they're handling it very well. On the rebound,
And Lillian Tolman with the putback here to get
I
it.
mean the Hawks did really well there. It's just they couldn't get that rebound to prevent the 2 points anyways, but that was pretty great defensive covering all the spots they needed to. But they get
Absolutely.
stuck. But
Heck
they're getting
is stuck there. Byers bails her out there.
Oh yeah, you see they're just getting stuck. They're not they just don't seem like they know exactly what they want to do.
And
Um
31 throws it to Olivia Marks here.
right. Yeah, the slower pace is a bit different. We're able to see kind of the inner workings of their offense in every player's role, which is kind of nice. So we
Absolutely.
get a whistle. Not too sure what happened there, but probably off ball foul, if I had to guess.
Heck walks the ball up here. It seems like you kind of speed it up a little bit, knowing that you're down by quite a bit with
Yeah,
less time. And Byers with 2 here.
exactly. They did speed it up there. She ran up the court with the ball to get the play going. And the satellites look lower energy here. So they should, take advantage of that and start being more aggressive.
Absolutely. The Satellites kind of are just taking it easy a little bit here, knowing that they have a 33-point lead. With key games coming up with Knox on Wednesday and Westville on Friday, and then the PCC tournament, where you're playing a full week almost of games.
Exactly, yeah. And you got to keep in mind injuries are a big deal for the satellites. They can't afford to really lose anyone, which is, why they're so conditioned. If you have a short team, they need to be in shape to prevent injuries. And that's going to be a rough week, but worth it because that's what you worked so hard for.
Absolutely. When you're going into goals, you go for the PCC tournament and for the sectional or state tournament coming up. Uh, 2 key things the Satellites are looking forward to playing in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they're ready for it. They've been playing great. They've been consistent this whole season, but I think they're starting to reach their peak at the right time.
And
And
Wagner
that's great coaching.
with a great find there to Byers, and Kate Welsh trying to draw a foul. Don't know where the foul was or was not called. because it looked like it was a little bit of a foul there.
It looked like a lot of contact, but I guess defense was set and it wasn't a charge. So
I don't know, but you gotta call something in that one. You would think, but let's digress with the Lillian Tolman. With you would kind of like to see Tolman just take that shot there instead of trying to drive there because she had a nice little 15-foot jump shot there.
right, yeah, and there was about 4 players right where she was about to shoot at. Like you're probably not going to make that. A bit of a bad decision. And a bit of an off start for the Satellites. They're not coming out very strong. They don't need to, but you would, kind of hope that they would at least make the shots that they're taking, Maybe not take as many, just off.
And Sadie Marks with the rebound, giving the ball to Lillian Tolman,
Oh,
and a nice
and just,
find to
I know,
Sadie
sneaky little
Marks.
backdoor just caught him way off guard. And a great pass, too. Not only does your team need to be able to create those plays, but they need to be able to make the passes, too.
At this point, I don't know who to give the game ball to. Do you give it to Sadie Marks or do you give it to Sam Marks?
I'm right there with you. I'm not sure. I think as a team, they're playing really well, and, it's really tied between those two as the top players here.
Absolutely. And Byers makes it closer, even though it's still about a 30-point game here in the third quarter.
Right, yeah. And I mean, you may be down a lot by a team. You probably know that you're not going to win, but you also need to practice your game here, too. You should be drilling your fundamentals and, you know, slightly figuring out how to get by tougher teams.
And you don't know if you're going to draw this team in the PCC, especially at this moment where you don't know who you're playing. You could be playing a Cowts, you could be playing a South Central again, Morgan Township, or Washington Township. It's a very open conference this year. Um, and speaking of a three ball here, the camera guy didn't do his job on that one. But
Just off again.
said he marks just a little bit off.
And that's a good pass there. It's just the Satellites are too quick, and they have that sense for basketball. They know where you're gonna pass it, and it's hard to beat them at that.
And after the steal, Lillian Tolman leads Kate Welsh just a little bit too much there. But great job with Lillian reading that pass.
Right, and they're back in their 2-3. Or man, are they man?
Satellites have kind of a switching man that looks more of like a zone kind of defense.
Yeah, it's
So
very interesting. Um, yeah, I like it. It looks good, and they have to play man with 2 posts out the bottom. They don't really have the size, but they're doing really well in not letting the ball get down there.
so goal, since they do not have the size, which they had last year with Lauren Bomar, they're kind of having a speedier version with Livia Marks down there, where most of the post players that they're going to play are not good enough to make Livia or whoever's down there stress.
Right, yeah. I think height is kind of the one thing you really can't control as a team. It's something, genetic, and you got to just get lucky as a coach to get someone with height. But, it's not insurmountable as a shorter person to beat them. As you see, Satellites play aggressive, and a lot of post players don't play as aggressive. So that's where they get beaten. It's on fast breaks, or, they can't get their post moves to work. Oh, what a shot there.
And Kate Welsh on fire, drilling another three ball. Maddie Heck walking it up for the Hebron Hawks. And
Right, and again confident defense there of getting low and knowing that you can take the point guard one on one.
And Lillian Tolman just made that look easy, just taking away from Maddie Heck.
She did, yeah. Again, the satellites can read basketball very well. All of them have a great basketball IQ, and that's where you see it is in plays like that. A lot of people, they just let the point guard kind of do what they want, but there's a lot of steals you can get at the top of the key.
And Olivia Marks just a little bit off the mark there with the 3-point shot. But Olivia almost jumps the pass that was passed to senior Cole there.
Right, and you see, the point guard's a little hesitant now because she knows that if they get too close, she's going to get the ball stolen. And that leads to, the rest of the satellites being able to jump the passes.
And Wagner draws the foul here. The normal front line for the Hebron Hawks will be Byer, Elijah, and Wagner, all about 5'10 or taller usually, but the speed factor is more with Elijah than the other two.
Right, yeah, and she's big on their defense also. They're getting a lot of rebounds as it is, but she led her team in that, so they're missing that, and obviously the scoring element they're missing here too. None of them can really get on fire, and they don't have the person that normally, does that for them on the court.
Which that could make the game during the PCC first round a little bit more interesting that we've seen right here. Granted, we're jumping ahead, but this is a pre-recorded game. The game next with Morgan Township, Elijah did play in, and it was basically the same fate. But was that because Elijah was still coming off her sickness?
Right, yeah, and it's just sickness and injuries. It gets in your head. It gets in your teammates' heads. Uh, Especially after COVID, people are pretty hesitant about getting sick people back on the court. So it's unfortunate, but it's something you just have to fight through. And and to make those choices to sit out on games, it's hard to make, and a lot of players won't do that. But the coach, you need to recognize if your player is ready to go in or not, if they're going to help or hinder the team.
Absolutely. But the Satellites with a huge lead, we're going to kind of talk about players that in a few minutes don't really get that much playing time, like a McKenna Welsh, who's a freshman as well. They have a pretty good freshman class coming in, headlined by Sam Marks and McKenna Welsh. So
Yeah, absolutely. These are the games you get them in for as much as you can, because again, you have an older team, so you need to get that experience some way, and this is that time and space that you do it in.
absolutely, because the only kind of underclassman that's getting a bunch of playing time and Anderson's 7-woman army here, because he usually plays about 7 per game consistently, is Samantha Marks.
Yeah, and that's an honor as a freshman to get that, as we said before. So it's really, there's going to be quite a bit of pressure on her next year. I'm foreseeing, and hopefully that they can not recruit, but get whoever is coming up in the next year's freshman class, and hopefully they come with a little bit of talent, because it's hard to start from the beginning almost as a coach when you lose a lot of seniors.
It's hard to reload, but South Central's reload the last 3-4 years pretty well so far. But Kate Welsh with a coast to coast action once again here.
Oh, another great pass, just not quite in the right spot for the layup, but they draw the foul. And you see, they have the Hawks have some good plays here. It's just they need that extra spark or something, to get closer in these types of games.
And 31 for Hebron knocks it down.
Yeah, and the fouls seem a lot better here for the Hawks, so that's something that they've definitely worked on. And also the satellites haven't been driving as much. Of course, conserve some energy maybe, to work on other things. I think they need to work on their threes. I feel like at the beginning of the season it was a lot better than it has been recently, and they're gonna need that for the tournaments coming up.
Absolutely.
Threes are a great way to really, you know, pick up the tempo and to get you back in the game pretty quickly if you're a few points out. Oh, he got confused where the ball was there. Some great defense.
And Heck, looking for her teammate Cole, swings it out. Number 33, 31.
That was the shot there. She had plenty of time to, get set and balanced. It was just slightly off.
Just slightly there, off the rim. And McKenna Walsh throws it to Hope Walsh.
Looks like an over the back call there. Yeah, boxing out was big because you get more rebounds and you get fouls. Especially when you're a taller girl, it's very obvious when people reach over you.
For sure. And when you have chemistry like South Central has, it's going to be, you have to kind of slow it down if you want to contend with this ball club. Especially when you have family members all across the roster. When you have three Welshes, one's a cousin, two sisters, and you have three Mark sisters. Um, you build the chemistry from almost the room.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that can I think it's could be a blessing or a curse at times. Families sometimes it's hard to get along with, but it seems like it's absolutely a blessing for the satellites.
Absolutely. And then Sam Marks just drilling another layup after a great find from Hope.
Yeah, she's doing exactly what she needs to do. She's getting a lot of experience. She's, you know, being confident and going in for well thought out shots, showing that she is an asset to this team.
Absolutely. And you're still going to have a Hope Welsh next year and a Sadie Marks, the kind of anchor that senior class still. And plus, you may have a couple girls who play other sports possibly come in and go for a senior year. But speaking of the W, they get another dub to win this game. Uh,
Yeah,
so
I mean, they played really well. I think the other team was kind of getting it together towards the end. They got a lot of looks on offense. Um, but yeah, the Satellites played well the whole time, which is what they should have done, and it's great that they got to execute it.
yeah, so the Satellites just absolutely taking it to Hebron, kind of giving the Hawks a little taste of what's going to happen in the first round of the PCC tournament. Um, but the kind of say you can't take a team like Hebron lightly. Okay, when you have size, you have a coach like they have, um, who's been historically good for the Hawks in years past. To put them aside and look through kind of to Washington Township and Couts or Morgan Township, or even a Westville, if they pull an upsets, um, or even a lacrosse who could pull upset. So you have that bottom part of the bracket it could be anybody's game so far.
Right, yeah. I think the Hawks would have played a lot better if they were able to stop, that run that the Satellites had extremely early on in the game. I think they just would have had a little bit more hope and probably more pep in their step if they didn't let it get that far. But I think towards the end they started to pick it up, and that's promising as a coach. As when you're at the bottom, you can kind of build up team morale to keep playing on and to get better throughout the game.
And I'm gonna give my game ball to Sam Marks. You could give it easily to Sadie Marks for basically the same skill set that you saw from Sam, because both your games are very similar. They're both taller kind of guards, where Sam is probably about 5'8", 5'7",
Hmm.
like, and then Sadie's about 5'10". I mean, just the length of both of them in the passing lanes, like you can't if you're
Yeah,
gonna.
it's big.
So it's hard to pick from both of them, but I'm gonna pick Sam because we haven't given really a game ball to Sam all year, so we're gonna give it to her. Um, but what's your opinion on it, Raina?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think Sam did just stand out a little bit more to me this game, so I agree with giving it to her.
And you still could give it to Lillian Tolman, Kate Welsh, or Olivia Marks. Um, but like we said, I think we're going to give it to Sam. She played outstanding in that 6-woman spot, the kind of that guard mentality. Um, but yeah, so good satellite night, and we'll see you guys live for the Knox game on Wednesday, and we also will see you live for another broadcast live and Popplewell cast on Sunday and one on Saturday night with the Westville game. So stay in orbit, my friends.